Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through today's topic because honestly, it is a real game changer. We're looking at a concept that is incredibly ancient, deeply profound, and yet, surprisingly, super practical for our modern everyday lives. We're talking about the power of true devotion, but moving way beyond just rituals and miracles. We are going to unpack what it actually means to be devoted, and spoiler alert, it means moving way past the surface level of mere temple rituals, or, just sitting around waiting for a magical fix to all our problems. So let's dive right into this and explore the true, highly actionable philosophy of devotion. Okay, I want you to start off by imagining a scenario with me. Picture this grand competition. You've got a priest, an incredibly powerful king, and a humble, everyday commoner, and they are all competing for a divine ultimate prize right from the heavens. Now, if you had to bet, who do you think would win? I mean, society usually tells us it's the priest, right, with his endless chants. Or maybe the king, because he has the vast wealth and resources to build these massive grand temples. But as we'll see from the ancient source material today, the answer flips our conventional understanding of spirituality completely upside down. Section 1. The Golden Plate, a folktale of true devotion. So according to this classic folktale, during a holy month, a massive crowd was gathered at a magnificent temple. Suddenly, a blinding light flashes, and a plate made of pure, solid gold literally falls right out of the sky. A divine voice echoes through the crowd stating that this plate will belong only to the greatest, truest devotee of God. Naturally, the temple priest steps up first, totally confident that his constant daily rituals have earned him the prize, but the very second he touches it, the gold turns into cheap brass. Next, the wealthy king steps forward, boasting about all the massive donations he gave to build the temple in the first place. He touches it, and again, it turns to dull, worthless metal. Finally, a poor, humble farmer, who had literally just given his only meal to a starving man outside the temple gates, was urged to give it a try. When he reluctantly touches the plate, it shines brighter than ever, remaining pure gold. Now, notice the farmer's reaction when the totally shocked crowd asks him what his secret spiritual practice was. He didn't brag about long meditations or super expensive offerings. He simply said, "I just work hard in my fields and help the needy. Seeing them happy gives me peace." The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that true devotion was found in his selfless, everyday actions, his daily karma, not in those grand, flashy public displays of piety. Moving on to Section 2. What is true bhakti? Redefining devotion. Let's actually break down the linguistic roots for a second. The word bhakti comes from the ancient Sanskrit root bhaj. Now, we often translate it simply as devotion or worship, right? But bhaj actually means to divide, to share, to participate, or to engage actively. It literally implies a shared relationship. Think back to the farmer for a second. He literally shared his food with a hungry person. He was actively participating in the welfare of others. That is the very literal definition of bhakti in action. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what modern scholars are finding when they study these ancient texts. As scholar Karen Pichelis notes, bhakti should not be misunderstood as just this uncritical, blind emotion. Instead, it is a committed engagement. It requires a constant, active tension between emotion and intellect. You use your intellect to ground your experience consciously, and your emotion to connect with the world around you. It's thoughtful, it's active, and it is deeply engaged with reality. But the ancient texts recognize that not everyone approaches this engagement in the exact same way. The Bhagavad Gita, which is a foundational text of this philosophy, identifies 4 distinct types of people who seek the divine. First up, the arta. These are those in deep distress who are just desperately seeking help. Second, the jinyasu, the curious folks seeking spiritual knowledge. Third, the artharthi, those seeking material wealth or success. And finally, the gnani, the one who already possesses higher wisdom and is devoted purely out of selfless love. This is super important because it shows us that people come to devotion for very different reasons, and let's be real, some of those reasons are highly transactional. Section 3. Sakam versus Nishkam, 2 paths of motivation. To understand this better, let's look at the left side of the screen. Here we have Sakam Bhakti. This is highly transactional. It's worshiping or doing good deeds with the direct expectation of a reward, like material gain, a big promotion, or even social status. Think of the king from our earlier story. He donated to the temple fully expecting the title of greatest devotee. On the right, though, is Nishkam Bhakti. This is action and devotion with absolutely zero selfish motivation. You do the right thing simply because it is the right thing to do. This was our humble farmer. He helped a starving man without wanting a golden plate in return. The texts argue that this Nishkam path is the ultimate, most liberating form of engagement you can possibly practice. Section 4. Karma and Destiny. The Role of Action. So what actually happens when we just sit back and expect miracles to do the heavy lifting? Well, take the story of Naseeb Singh. Completely fed up with his poverty, he goes deep into the jungle, basically demanding that God change his fate. Moved by his pitiful state, a divine couple appears and hands him a precious magical necklace. But as Naseeb is walking home, he sets the necklace down for just 1 single second and swoosh, an eagle swoops in and steals it. Undeterred, he goes right back to the jungle. This time, another deity appears and gives him a priceless diamond ring. Naseeb puts it in his pocket, but when he leans over a pond to get a drink of water, the ring slips out and a fish swallows it instantly. No way, right? But here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. Even a direct, miraculous gift won't stay with you if you don't actually do the work. The moral of Naseeb Singh's story is stark, and it's powerful. The universe realized that because he was solely looking for a shortcut and not focusing on his own effort, his own karma, he simply couldn't hold on to the blessings. True destiny is built on daily effort and personal responsibility. You literally can't just outsource your success to the universe and expect things to magically improve. Section 5. The Power of Bhakti. Lessons from Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 12. In Chapter 12, the warrior Arjuna asks a fascinating question. He asks which path is better, meditating on the formless, invisible universe, which is known as jnana, or devotion to a personal, relatable form known as bhakti. The answer he gets is remarkably psychologically astute. He's told that the formless path is incredibly difficult, abstract, and honestly, mentally exhausting for a regular person. Because, as humans, we are fundamentally wired for relationship, emotion, and connection. Therefore, bhakti, devotion anchored in love and connection, is much easier and safer. It provides that crucial emotional grounding we all desperately need to navigate the everyday chaos of life. And what does a person who actually practices this look like? The text provides a checklist, and what's amazing is that it reads exactly like a modern psychology textbook's definition of emotional maturity. Seriously. A true devotee is free from hatred, they're friendly and compassionate, they aren't driven by a fragile ego, they remain balanced whether things are going great or terribly, they are quick to forgive, and they are totally steady in their purpose. This isn't some mystical fairy dust, guys. This is a highly actionable framework for stress management, resilience, and secure attachment to the world around you. Which leads us to a profound synthesis. True devotion is basically emotional intelligence refined through spirituality. It's about engaging completely with your everyday life. Let me share a beautiful, inspiring story that captures this perfectly. In a small village, there lived a poor young man named Arjun. He had no wealth, but he had incredible, unwavering faith. Every morning before sunrise, he'd fetch water from the river to pray. Some villagers actually mocked him, saying, "Just praying won't achieve anything." But Arjun would just smile and say, "True devotion never goes to waste." Well, one year, a terrible drought hit. Fields dried up, wells emptied, and a food crisis loomed. Total despair spread through the village. But Arjun? He didn't give up. His devotion gave him immense strength. One night, he dreamt he was told to dig near the old village banyan tree. The next morning, he told the villagers. At first, no one believed him, but his conviction was so strong that a few followed him. As soon as they started digging, a massive spring of sweet water burst forth. The dried fields turned green again. That day, everyone realized the incredible power of true devotion. Arjun didn't just wait around. He engaged with reality, picked up a shovel, and literally saved his community. And that brings us perfectly to the moral of Arjun's story, which brilliantly summarizes our explainer today. The quote on screen translates to, "True devotion does not merely wait for a miracle. It gives the mind faith, patience, and the strength to perform good karma. That is the greatest power of devotion. So stop waiting for the golden plate to fall from the sky. Stop waiting for the magic necklace. True devotion is found in the dirt of the fields, in picking up a shovel for your community, and in the mastery of your own mind." So my final question to you is, how can you take a step toward that kind of actionable selfless devotion in your own life today? Thank you so much for exploring this with me.